Shares of Groupon are looking more and more like a daily deal. The stock's down for a fifth straight day and has lost actually almost a third of its value since it went public back in the month of November. A lot of questions, a lot of accusations right now, but it's accounting. They're all piling up. So how do you trade this one before the stock goes back down? Right now on 3 versus Trish, our Corey Johnson. He knows anything and everything, I can tell you this, about Groupon. Also, Alex Bernal, he's making his debut as our chart guy today. Mark Sebastian has the options trade for you. Corey, I'm going to kick it off with you. Credibility. I cannot stress how important this is for a company and for its stock price, for investors to feel like the management team has things under control. When it comes to accounting, people feel like they've been burned here.
Well, I mean, they have been. It's not about sort of opinion at this point. I mean, they've restated the numbers before the IPO. They've restated the numbers since the IPO. Their accountants have said there's a material problem with their internal controls. Not just a problem, but a material problem when they don't seem to have their hands around it yet. So the numbers are a problem.
How can anyone buy into this, right? I mean, whatever you tell me about what they may potentially earn or what they may not earn, as an investor, I'm going to be sitting there somewhat suspicious because of their track record.
Well, and yet, you know, I mean, you say that it's so important. I mean, maybe this is proof that credibility doesn't matter, because if you look at the valuation on this thing, it has a fantastic valuation for a company that has yet to turn a profit. It's trading at 70 times trailing earnings, that they don't really have these earnings without some machinations. There's a big issue with payables sitting out there unpaid. There's a big question about the legality of the service offered in the UK and in certain states where they've been sued on a class action basis. So a lot of question marks around this company, but a lot of things that are known as well that are disconcerting from a fundamental level. Again, I'm not telling you how to trade the stock, but if you look at the business, that I can help you do.
Yeah, you know, Mark Sebastian, we started to talk about this company's valuation. It's still being pretty rich considering everything that was going on. He started shaking his head. I have a feeling you're awfully concerned about this one as well, Mark. How do you play it?
I would need a Groupon on a Groupon to buy Groupon stock. There's just no way I would do it. The stock is headed for the wrong side of 10 very soon. You know, if you look at the options, the implied volatility is rising pretty parabolically, actually, and nobody, you know, people are racing to buy puts in this thing. I have trouble imagining how someone would rationally want to own this stock in the long term, given everything that goes on with this company. I mean, I live in Chicago, so I was kind of been involved since the beginning, of kind of seen what's going on. If you talk to the people that use them, their vendors, even their vendors don't like Groupon. I just think that they're kind of the BlackBerry of deal sites. They're the Palm Pilot of deal sites, if you will. I think they have major problems. The volatility is pretty high here. We may be in for a short period of slowing down here. I like selling a May call spread on this thing. The May 14, 16 call spread at, I think it's trading around 70 cents right now. Good way to get short vol and short the stock at the same time. But this is an ugly looking stock, in my opinion.
Alex, do the technical sides of the stock look any better?
Yeah, well, basically, since the stock started trading, the stock has been just broken. I mean, it's been making lower lows and lower highs all the way down. So there's nowhere here to really enter into a long position. The trend is down. You know, it looked like we were going to make a support level here at 17 even, but when they had to restate earnings, it just flooded it with supply, and, you know, nobody's guess is better than mine on where it's going to end as far as on the downside. It might hit 13 even, but, you know, it's falling out of the sky at this point.
Now, what would turn this around, Corey?
Well, you know, first of all, from the trading aspect, which I rarely get into, but I'll mention that from what I hear from people, there's no short borrow availability. So it's hard for anyone to short the stock right here, which could also account for some of the put volume. I don't know what that means for the way this trades in the short term, but once more shares are unlocked and we can get some real float, we can see it. What would turn it around? Profitability. The company is inching towards profitability. The question is, how big will that profitability be when they get there?
Would people believe it, Corey?
Well, I mean, look, there's no reason. If the accounting's straight, if there's some profitability, that would be great. But how much profit can they make in this competitive business? The other thing that really concerns me really quickly is the billings, the total amount of sales that they're getting, as well as just the gross amount of what they call gross billings. The growth, the quarter-over-quarter growth on that is falling significantly. Now, that 6% number they initially said was 8%, but they got those numbers wrong. either way, the number is looking really bad. They've stopped giving that number out on a quarterly basis here, and it's disconcerting as well. The fact that they're giving us fewer metrics makes it even harder to analyze this business, but maybe that's part of the point.
Mark, we heard Alex say that, you know, if it hit 13, from a technical perspective, maybe it would turn around. Would you be any more encouraged at $13 a share price?
I'd come in maybe at $7 or $6. I'd start taking a flyer on this. But Corey brings up a great point. This stock is impossible to borrow. So there's always a major danger of what they call a short squeeze. And, you know, that's where you get a bounce. So a big buy-in on the stock causes all the people that are short this thing to go chasing after the stock. You could see it make kind of a, call it a dead cat bounce up to 17 or 18 bucks off of a major short squeeze. But I think the long-term trend on this thing and the short-term and intermediate, sans any squeeze, is just down.
All right.
It's
down. So basically, you're telling me sell, Trish, sell now. All three of you.
I'm out.
All right.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying the business is problem.
Corey
Do what
doesn't
you want
actually
with this
say that.
stock.
I'm inferring that. Let me just say I'm inferring that. Okay, here's the cheat sheet for you on Groupon. Not a whole lot to like here, folks. Corey Johnson says a lot to fix in the internal controls. A company needs credibility. Alex sees a downward trend. Mark says he sees no reason to buy this stock, and the options activity really suggests no reason to buy that stock unless you believe in a short squeeze.